What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Yes, I'm sitting in my car. The reason I'm sitting in my car is because I was gonna film this video at home, but I have like 7.9 million people at my house right now, and I don't want to film a video where everybody can spy on me, because my family's the kind of family who will just sit there and like spy on me. And this is gonna be a personal video, so I really didn't want to do it in my room with 100 people listening. So I decided to get in my car and just come because I really felt called to make this video today. But as I was driving here, I actually hit a squirrel and I had to watch it freaking suffer and die. So like, emotionally, I'm trying to get over that right now. But I'm gonna take a second, recoup, pray for the squirrel's family because I just freaking took its life and I feel really bad. And then I'm gonna start the video. So today I'm gonna be talking about my testimony. So a testimony, for those of you who don't know, is basically how you came to know God. So I feel really called to tell this today, so I'm gonna do it. And I just wanted to share with you guys kind of what I went through. So whenever I was younger, you know, I was raised in a Southern Baptist church. My mom pretty much was the one who was pouring into me, you know, a lot about God. And I was at church every Sunday, every Wednesday. I went to every camp that our church offered. I literally was like the model church child. And my dad, he didn't really invest very much into me spiritually, and eventually my mom and dad got a divorce. My dad cheated on my mom so many times. He had a drinking problem that eventually, you know, assisted in his death here recently, and they split up, and my mom really, you know, wanted us to choose to, you know, love God and live for God. And, you know, my mom, she was a good example of that. And my dad's life kind of was just crazy and like of the world. And, so I think that was one of the reasons that kind of assisted in me stepping away from my faith for a while. So yeah, my mom, you know, I was kind of resented her when she got a divorce from my dad, and I didn't understand why. I do now, but at the time I was just so mad at her. Like, how could you walk away from my dad? In my eyes, whenever I was younger, he was a superhero. You know, I didn't know that he had cheated on her and he had a drinking problem and, you know, that he was mean to her. Like, I didn't know any of that. So I resented her. And going through school, you know, I was really close to God. I knew him, but I didn't know him as deeply as I do now. So I remember like going to camps and stuff, and like I did know God, but like slowly I started to kind of distance myself from him as I got older. And the time that I really started doing that was high school. So high school came around and I kind of just got like mixed up into boys, and my main problem was drinking, just like my dad. And I began to drink, and when I drank, I wouldn't just drink a little, like I drank a lot. I wasn't the kind of person who could have one drink. If I had one drink, I was like, whoa, party, and I would drink like literally the entire bottle of vodka, and I'd just be like blacked out. And so I kind of touched on this in my last video, but when I first lost my virginity, it was to a guy whenever I was drunk, and I was wasted, and I think that was like the fourth time I drank or something, and I made that huge mistake, and from that point on my life just spiraled out of control. And you know, whenever I was doing all these things and I was sinning so much, I felt so guilty that I just didn't even talk to God. I didn't even remotely like go to him for anything because I felt so bad. Like I knew better, and I was just so far from him, and I was like so miserable. Honestly, my heart and my soul was just like so miserable. So, you know, I dabbled in pretty much everything. I smoked weed, I drank all the time, I had sex with multiple people, you know, I did all of that. And it was so empty. It really was. And for a long time, I would call on him whenever I really needed him, like whenever I was really struggling, and he would be there. Like, for example, one time, like I was literally heartbroken, and I was trying to figure out if I needed to be in a relationship. And God said to me straight as day, you do not need to be in that relationship. And like, I remember being like, oh my gosh, like after everything I've done, he's still here for me, you know, guiding me through life. And I was just so distanced from him. You know, I knew him, but I didn't really, you know, have that relationship like I do now. So fast forward, you know, I go through relationships and I find, you know, my daughter's dad, Denver, and he was my fiance, but we are now broken up. I touched on that in my last video, but I will definitely talk more about that. But I met him, and, you know, he knew God too, and he pushed me to be better in my faith. And when I had my daughter, you know, when I got pregnant with her, I was in a really bad space, but I had been in a really bad space for about 5 years. So, you know, I tried to have a relationship with God, but it just wasn't deep. It was just so, you know, baseline. And, you know, I knew him, but I didn't really know him like, you know, like I wanted to. So fast forward, you know, I have my daughter, and after I had my daughter, like, I just was in a very bad funk. I think it was my hormones, and just, you know, motherhood at a young age was so hard, and I just felt like worthless, meaningless, like just ugh. And so I knew in my heart that I wanted to be the kind of mom my mom was. I wanted to raise my daughter knowing God, but I didn't know how, because I didn't even have that relationship with him like I wanted. So I remember one night I was drinking because of my depression. I started turning to alcohol again, and I was so sad and miserable, and I felt so bad, especially looking down at my daughter, who I love with all my heart. And I was just like, God, there has got to be more to life than this. And I prayed to him, and I prayed to him, and I prayed to him, and slowly but surely he started telling me to do things. And I will never forget when he told me to do a challenge. It was like a health and fitness challenge. And he told me to do that because one of my passions in life is working out and stuff like that. And I had really fallen off the wagon on that. And I know it sounds weird, but God told me to do this challenge. So after the challenge, I was just really focused on my life and my happiness, my relationship with God. And it started slow, but I really started to turn my life over to God. And I really said, okay, God, you know, this is not my life anymore. And I think that not that I didn't know God, but I didn't know him at such a deep level where I said, okay, God, this is your life now. Whatever you want me to do, I'm going to do it. And it didn't happen overnight, you know. I have grown into that. But after the challenge, I was so clear-headed. I was so positive. I had lost weight. I had been working out, so my depression and anxiety was pretty much gone. And when I had that clear head, you know, I knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted a relationship with God, not only for myself, but for my future family. So this most recent summer, you know, I did the challenge starting this year, January 1st. And it ended at like April. So April to, I would say, November, and today's like November 24th. That's when the biggest, you know, transformation in my life happened. So first of all, I started vlogging. I felt like God told me to vlog. I felt like God told me to quit school. I felt like God told me to leave my relationship. And those are things that I did that were the hardest decisions I've ever had to make. But I did them, and I'm here now, and I feel like God has seriously just said, this is what you're supposed to be doing, Brooke. And, you know, it's just crazy to think about all those decisions that I've made because I feel like God is telling me these things. But whenever I gave my life over to him, he has done nothing but been so clear to me. Like, he will tell me, he told me today to make this video. So when you give your life over to God, he literally will guide you. And you will have to seek him. You will have to pray. You will have to watch sermons. You will have to read your Bible. You will have to read Bible plans. Like, you have to invest in that relationship. But once you do, and once you say, okay, God, this isn't my life anymore, this is yours. You know, I believe in you. I know that you are the author of my life, so I'm going to listen to you. And once you do those things, your life is going to turn around. And right now, I'm still in the depths, the valley, the hard place, and I have a peace inside of me, because when you freaking do what God says to do, you have a peace and you know you're doing the right thing. And no matter how crappy your life seems on the outside, hello, my heart is on fleek right now. So So that's kind of my little testimony, my little life story. That's where I'm at right now. And, you know, I've really, really, really given my life over to God lately. And I think that this is the true meaning of, you know, giving your life to Jesus. You know, I knew him whenever I was younger, but not like I do now. So I just think that sometimes it takes people to go through the hardest and the most awful things to understand how good God is and his plan for your life. And so I hope this video helps somebody. I hope that you can relate to it. If you have any questions, please comment below. I will be posting every Tuesday and Thursday. I know today's Friday, but I meant to post this video yesterday, but I didn't. So thank you guys so much. All right, I'm weird. Okay, I don't know why I'm so weird. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.